And we're back live again. And Matt Bevenour has joined the podcast once again. Unfortunately, we were without Brian again. I believe he's still being off being a ninja. So
Yes, he is.
I'm flattered that you guys at least invited me back. I guess I did something right the first time.
You did.
I think so. Actually, no, you actually did, because the funny thing is lately we've had more downloads since you've joined that last podcast.
Yeah.
So
the people are getting what they want.
We got a little uptick on YouTube videos as well. We got a couple segments from our last podcast up on there if you want to check that out. Or if you want to check out that podcast beforehand, it's probably right under the one you're listening to now.
There you go. And
I
also
like the Philly sports theme we got going on.
I was gonna say, Matt, I think it has to do with the 52 Super Bowl 52 shirt there.
Hey, gotta represent the Birds. Got some Flyers back.
Got the Phillies. Got the Flyers.
We're just missing the Sixers.
Yeah, that's all.
We got the Stanley Cup in to my right.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully. And surprisingly, the MLB season actually starts next week. Sorry.
Yeah, I was like,
It's going to be tricky, but
that's
we'll kind of get right into it. Get a little news from Narnia and Whitmer updates and Matt's updates as well. I think that's where we're going to start today. We got a little things here and there, not much to talk about today, so it could be a short one. Who knows? Depends on how much we got to say.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start with this because I think I've had the most kind of going on as part of my Whitmer updates. I've had a bit of a weird kind of stressful kind of week because literally hours after the three of us got off our podcast on Tuesday, my dad was not feeling the best. He was having what he said, a pounding headache. He was having chills, ended up having fever too. So it was just a weird kind of thing. And we just didn't know really what was wrong with him. And it was going on earlier in the day. So what happened was that the only thing that was different from any other day was that a little bit like around lunch, say like noon or whatever, he went to work out because it was nice out. He worked on the deck for a little bit. Yeah. Worked at the table there and just for like maybe a half hour. Then he said when he goes on a walk every once in a while for like a 3-5 minute walk. He listens to an audiobook. He just does that as a kind of exercise. He said he could only get to like 3 miles of it before he had to turn back. Jeez. He thought it was like a heat exhaustion or dehydration, something like that. And he was just having these chills and everything. And like late at night, this is like hours after, like 9 o'clock, he says he's just going to go to bed because he doesn't feel well or whatever. And we're just like, you should probably check your temperature. Because he wasn't acting right. Like when he went to go kiss my mom goodnight, she kisses her forehead. She's like, this is kind of weird. So why don't you go check your temperature? Yeah. So he went to check that with the thermometer we had. I was like, well, can we really trust that? So Mitch and I went to get another thermometer, just knew see if it comes out, and his temperature came out to 107. And with
holy smokes,
wow,
that's what it was. But then the next morning, he was completely fine. Like I think he might have had still some aches or whatever, but
he was a lot better than what.
Yeah, the fever was gone. All that was gone. I don't know what was going on there, but with that, like that night before and the morning after, like you should probably go get tested because this is kind of coronavirus kind of time. So, want to kind of err on the side of precaution here, and. So he wanted to do that. Originally, we scheduled him to do one at like the CVS. The CVS right by down in town, I think, is a testing center. So we originally had him go get tested on last Thursday, but he then contacted like a WebMD kind of over a Zoom kind of talk. He went over his symptoms, and they said, yeah, you should probably go get tested, but you wasn't really sure if it was really that. Or whatever. So later on, he was able to get an appointment with his actual doctor, and there he got the test.
So when did he physically get the test? Was it on Friday?
Wednesday.
Okay,
next
Wednesday.
day.
And he was
that
told...
was the good thing. The good thing was that he was able to see his doctor, and he was able to get checked out. But in his words,
and this was last Wednesday he got the test, right?
Last Wednesday, yes.
And when was he told that he would get the results back?
It was originally said 2 to 4 days.
Okay. So, yeah, because I've seen from like people all over
recently,
social media reporting that, like, oh, it might take a couple of days, and then some people it takes them like a day or two. Other people it takes them like almost 2 weeks for some reason. And
I'll get to back to that in a second. But when he was at the doctor, even the doctor was like, I don't really think it's really this. To him, I think he said it was like, you probably don't need the test, but he got it anyways. Right. Just because when he went there, he didn't have any of the symptoms that he had the night before. Mm-hmm. But in that time, I said it to Matt before he got on, Jeff, that it was probably the most kind of anxious, kind of stressful time, because you literally go back when we first got this. Oh, we have to go back to the last 2 weeks. If it was any other time during quarantine, we would have been good because we weren't really seeing anything. At worst case, it would have been me because I was going out more than anyone else,
right?
Being essential and everything. But then I was going back to the last 2 weeks. I'm like, wait, I was hanging out with you guys. I hung out with Babs a couple of times. Like, oh wait, if this actually comes back, I have to kind of retrace everything of who I was with and all that.
Right.
And one thing I didn't mention in our last podcast, something we did was on the day before we went mini golfing, we celebrated my mom's birthday at my house. So we just hung out there for a little outside, inside kind of thing, but we mostly hung out by the pool side. It was just me, my cousins, my uncle, my aunt and uncle, and my mom. That was it. Yeah. And then there was a theory, like, could we have gotten it from there? And it's like, well, we should probably contact them just in case. So it's just a whole thing of, all right, let's just go back. How far back was 2 weeks ago? What were we doing then? What were we doing around then? Because that's kind of the thing with this time. Kind of get freaked out with the whole coronavirus thing. So like the next day, because I think Matt, you had a text out saying we were going to hang out on that Thursday.
Yeah.
We were going to hang up poolside and do that again. But I had the text. I was like, I can't, unfortunately.
No, absolutely, and obviously you can't, you don't want to risk anything or anything like that, and you gotta
those days,
cover everything
seems
down.
more and more likely that's probably going to come back negative. But the thing with coronavirus is you can have known symptoms and still test positive for it. You could still, the fever itself is kind of spiky. Sometimes you can have it, and it's just kind of weird. Just some of the things we kind of looked up when we were kind of freaked out over it. But the thing is, like, we don't know what was wrong with him if it's not coronavirus. Because, like, if you had a heat stroke, was having heat exhaustion or like a migraine, dehydration, like, would you really have that big of a fever kind of thing with that? And we're not doctors in any sense, so we didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking to my sister who's a nurse, but even then we just weren't really sure.
The only thing I can say is, maybe heat exhaustion, heat stroke kind of thing. Maybe it was just one of those 24-hour bug kind of things. And that's happened where, like, you just feel so crappy for, again, the whole 24 hours. And then after that, it just goes away.
Yeah. And I think the thing that's so tricky with regards to the testing that you were talking about earlier, Whitmer, is I actually have a friend who lives down in Florida who was feeling not great, so he decided to get tested, and he actually did not get his results back for 18 days.
Yeah, I did see a news report not that long ago that there were some people that have been waiting a while, and my dad actually contacted his doctor, seeing if maybe, because
any update.
It was yesterday was Monday, so he was checking maybe the lab got done, but the doctor's office was closed, so maybe the test won't have come back. So we reached out to them, and now the thing is, I think Qantas or them are saying it's going to take up to at least 7 or so days until you get results back. Wow. So it's actually gotten up. So tomorrow would be the 7 days for us.
Okay. So, well, fingers crossed that you guys hear back and get some. I hate to call it some negative news with regards to it being a negative test, but that's
some
one
good
of the tricky. Some good news, which would be that it's negative, but that's the trickiest thing. I mean, it takes a long period of time to actually know.
And those things is, like, you'd rather be cautious than not cautious, because what if you do have it, but like, don't take it seriously? And the other side of it is, like, what if my dad just says nothing and just goes to bed that night? We might not be having this conversation now, but then he might actually have it, and then you just infect more. So it's a really tough kind of subject. The only thing I'd say was a little, because the whole week was my only time where I was really stuck at home doing really nothing. Because before, with when you were on shutdown, whatever you want to call it, they didn't want you to leave, but they were like, if you have to
then you can.
But we really can't until we get the results back. So we really can't leave or anything. So we got groceries the other day that were just delivered to us. We did an Instacart kind of thing.
There you go.
The only thing we did do, which if you're listening to this or if this becomes a YouTube video and you're watching it, the only thing we did was on Saturday, it was my grandma's birthday, and we were supposed to do something for that. We were going to hang out, but unfortunately we couldn't. But we did a car, like a car parade, like you see for people do for like birthdays.
Those are common, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
a
the whole day,
drive-by.
yeah, drive-by kind of thing. So all Friday, we're just kind of decorating shirts that we weren't using, saying Happy 85th and all that on them. And it took maybe 15 minutes to get it all set up. When we got there, we pulled over, put the shirts on our windows, and we did like 2 drive-bys, and then went straight home. My aunt came up at one point. I dropped the window down a little bit to talk to her, but that was really it.
Right.
And
because again, it's that part of you gotta be kind
really
of careful with everything. Yeah.
That's the only thing we really did in the last week. Other than that, it's just nothing really has this changed in what we were doing versus what we were doing before. All week we're just kind of out by the pool. Over the weekend, that's all we did. We played a little dominoes, kind of card games, stuff like that.
There you go.
We were drinking here and there.
There you go. Well, that's the way that you stay busy.
Yeah, it's just however you can stay busy in these times.
But as of like right now, would you say that your dad is feeling normal, all things considered?
Oh, yeah.
Well, then, I think maybe it's like what Jeff said. Hopefully it's just one of those odd 24-hour bugs that just has to pass through your system.
Yeah. That's good.
But
definitely, and the only tough part is at times, especially my mom and my brothers, will be harder on my dad just because you're so used to doing things like daily. So not being able to do these things, like they'll be on them for just getting the mail or going out and there's like a neighbor outside with them. Like, you probably shouldn't go too close to talk to them or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Keeping your distance is big. That's for sure.
It really, really is.
But that's how my week has gone.
Yeah.
Very interesting, kind of stressful week.
Oh, for sure.
I did come up with another like segment, but we'll get into a little later. But just because I think everyone's kind of in this kind of anxious, on edge, kind of stressful thing. So I came up with like a new kind of segment of de-stressing, distressing, working title. But essentially it's anything kind of randomy kind of thing that'll make you kind of think of something outside of what's thrown in front of you almost every day.
Yeah, I think it's always good to find an escape in trying times like this.
So we'll see how that goes, but that's kind of my updates. How is things in Narnia land, Jeff?
Yeah, so news from Narnia right now. So I've actually have a decent amount to bring up today, boys, and I'll start with this one. So my dad and I, we were playing cornhole the other day. I think it was even like the other week or so, and so we're all done and everything. I won 2 out of 3, so I was happy. I had a pretty dramatic comeback, so I was really pumped about it. And so we were packing up everything, and the way I was standing or was kind of leaning forward, I went down to pick up the one cornhole board, and the lower part of my back just went out. So, and right away I was like, oh, like I felt it go out and everything. I was like, well, that sucks. So I ended up getting to the power next day, and I'm glad that I did this, but I wore a mask because I'm trying to be safe, I'm trying to be careful. So the office that my chiropractor is in, it's a very small office. It's maybe looking around my room and everything, it's maybe as big as my room. Again, it's a very small office, and not one but 2 different people came in at separate times, both of them not wearing a mask. And the first one, this one lady was already there by the time I was there, and she wasn't wearing a mask, and I walked in, and then I was talking with my chiro, and the other woman was like kind of like the lobby as us and everything, and it was hard to tell, but I was like, it kind of seemed like she was one of those people that like kind of like egged you on and not poked fun of you, but something like that for kind of wearing the mask. Like she kind of like, I could tell based off of the tone of her voice, she kind of thought it was like a little ridiculous that I was wearing a mask. I'm like, no, I'm just being smart. You're clearly not being smart. So, have fun being you. So, that was a little irritating, but good news is back.
Someone in like that kind of, I guess it's kind of medical field would just kind of, kind of put it on to begin with.
Yeah,
right. More seriously, because they're more interacting more so than many people close distance.
Well, so my actual chiropractor, he was wearing a mask, but
okay.
It was just like a female and a male, customer, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, but came in separate times, and neither the man or the woman were wearing masks.
Oh, I thought it was like someone actually at the chiropractic that was.
No. No, my chiropractor.
It was just someone waiting that was not wearing.
Exactly, it was someone waiting in the lobby. Lobby, because again, it's a freaking small office. But so that was definitely a little nerve wracking. I'm like looking around. I'm like,
I guess they weren't
not understand
a required
what's
thing.
going on. Well, no, that's the thing, because I'm pretty sure in the last few weeks or so, Governor Wolf made, I don't know if he made it like a law, or he again just is enforcing and saying, hey, like if you go out anywhere, you need to wear a mask, and because they had to make like another rule because people were going out wearing masks anymore, really. So the moral of the story is just, please be careful out there wherever you guys go, and whoever's listening, and please continue to wear a mask, because if you guys want to all beat this thing and fight this thing and everything, you can do your little part by wearing a mask if you go out.
And for me, I was actually going grocery shopping yesterday, and it got to the point where, of course, I was wearing my mask, and I was walking to my car, and I forgot that I had it on. So it's almost like it's becoming second nature for us to wear these masks. And I understand that it's not an ideal situation, but it's such a selfless act. And again, I'm by no means a scientific expert, but I'm listening to scientific experts who are saying this is the way to try and curb this thing, to bring it down to a manageable level. So, I personally think it's selfish if you're choosing not to wear a mask in a setting like especially a doctor's office, Jeff.
Right.
And the fact that you're seeing people that do that, or even get to the point where they're belittling you for wearing one, is just, it's deplorable, and
it's ignorant.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
It really is, and again,
selfish.
it really is embarrassing. Is probably one of the best words to describe the whole situation. The other thing that like gets me like annoyed is when luckily I haven't seen this or have had this happen to me. I'm sure you guys have seen it on social media where you get out of your when you're driving, you don't want to wear a mask, because if you don't have to.
When you're in the car, I mean, as long as you're by yourself or something like that.
And your windows are closed kind of thing, that's fine. But one thing, and I typically do is, I try my best to put my mask on in the car, but sometimes, I forget. And like, as I'm walking to like through the lot, as long as no one else is around me, then I put it, on right away. But if someone's around me, I stop in my car or get back in, put the mask on, and then go in. There's been times where I've seen on social media where people have, like they're starting to do that, where they get out of the car and they're getting ready to put their mask on, and people come up to them and freak out on them. They're like, oh, why aren't you wearing a mask? It's like, I'm getting ready to put it on. But
yeah, these times are so tense, and there's a lot of people who are getting frustrated at a variety of things. So just plain and simple, wear a mask when you're in a setting where you're supposed to wear a mask. It's just that simple. When you're around people, when you're indoors in public, just wear a mask.
Yeah. I will admit though, when
it looks like Jeff's going to find his mask right now for our video watchers.
Jeff, it's not time for bed yet. Okay, I know we're in your room, but come on.
Yeah.
But for me, like
bed,
at the beginning, like say March or April, whenever the first like you should wear a mask kind of thing was coming out, and my wife was saying you need to wear this, it was a little hard to kind of get used to coming out of your car, like coming out of your car and getting a mask. There was a couple days where like, oh wait, I need to go get my mask. But as I've gotten used to it over the months, like it has what Matt said, it's just kind of come second nature to me. It's like, oh yeah, I just have this on. Or I come to the car, I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably take this off now. Yeah.
I did too. Yeah.
Oh wait, he's back. Whitmer, we lost you for a second. You were saying you're going to your car.
Yeah.
These are the COVID times where we're forced to use technology.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes the technology doesn't want to work for us.
Right.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where like you kind of get used to it, or even like when I got into my car, you just like, oh yeah, I should probably take this off now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that you just kind of get more used to it. Like some masks are easier to use than others, I will admit, but
yes,
you'll just kind of get used to it.
And that's definitely one of my biggest things.
And the more you put up with it now, the less you have to deal with it later.
Right.
Exactly.
The more we all do it now, the less time we're gonna have to use it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you're gonna have to until there's at least some type of vaccine. So
yeah. But and that's a great point. Like there definitely are a couple different kinds of masks that you can wear. Like the one I usually wear to work is it's almost like this stretchy kind of material and everything. It's like it's very thin layer and everything like that, but it's just easy to breathe through because a lot of these masks, when you wear them, like after a while, it gets like tough to breathe in them sometimes because you don't want, especially in the summer now, you don't want like a mask that like it protects your face and everything. Obviously that's the main goal, but if you have such a tough time breathing through them because it's so hot out and it's covering your entire mouth and your nose and everything, and it's like, all right, well, you need to get the right material. This one kind of mask, I actually have it with me. Let me grab it first.
He was getting a mask. I will say this though, about the one good thing about masks are, I think all of us can kind of relate to this with beards, is that it will allow you to be, oh yeah, I should probably shave now.
Yeah, right.
I know. I'm getting close to that point too.
Yeah.
It's also,
it kind of gets stuck to your beard, or
sorry,
when you take it off, you kind of get that mouth kind of face kind of
Yeah,
sweat because of it. Like, hey, I probably should shave now.
It's very tempting, or at least trim my beard. But so I literally feel like a dentist wearing this thing around, and you guys will see why. Look at the color on this thing.
Oh, it does look like you're in the medical field.
Yeah.
But again, it's like this very stretchy like material and everything, and it works really well. It's very thin, but it gets the job done, and then that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But so going back to another quick
during your time in the dentistry field, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
News from Narnia though. What was it? So I worked for the my second shift. Just the other day, it was a 7 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. So a little rough. Still catch up on sleep, as you can tell. But the day after, it was the day of the shift. So like this was Sunday afternoon. My dad and we decided to go to Golston Speed Zone in Honeybrook, and we went to the driving range for the first time in God knows how long. But it was kind of nice. What's up?
You're trying to perfect your mini golf game, aren't you?
You caught me. I'm trying to,
You have the time to practice. Better. Might as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But I must say, because Mike, you were saying the fact that just trying to make things normal again, and everything. That day when my dad and I went to the driving range, it almost felt like a regular, normal day for the first time.
There's still moments where you'll find some type of normalcy. Yeah. It's just kind of rare nowadays.
Right.
But also when you look back to it historically, it's like, this is a weird kind of time where most likely in our lifetimes you'll never see anything kind of like this again.
Right.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, that's all we can hope for.
Mm-hmm.
But so we went to Golston Speed Zone, and we knew we were gonna be a little rusty, but like I would say it's probably like a 65-35 or even 70 to 30% ratio of good shots versus bad shots. I definitely had some bad shots, but I had some surprisingly really good shots because I ended up changing the grip on my like on how I hold the golf club and everything, and it changed it completely. And how I was hitting the ball, and I was even ripping the 3-wood and my driver really good, like 200, which is shocking because most of the time my 3-wood or driver is going straight down the middle, either on a line drive or a ground ball.
Yeah.
So
my thing is I like to shank mine, or like I like to shank mine to the left.
And that was the other thing is, I had some good driver shots, but they were curving and shanking to the right. Almost into the woods, kind of shanking. So like, need some work still.
Yeah.
So the good news is, like I had some really good shots, but there's always room for improvement. I definitely want to get to the driving range at least one more time before I try to go to golf. I know I was trying to recruit my brother in to go to golfing sometime soon, and we were talking about that, and even trying to get our dad to tag along. So we're making progress here.
That's why I'm still itching for us to get back on the Rossi's mini golf course.
So am I.
Oh yeah, no, Rossi's
yeah.
We'll miniaturize it.
We're not over this loss, Jeff.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm looking for some revenge.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it comes down to hopefully we hear the result from Whitmer's dad's test, and then we can plan something. Of course, we just have to play this cautiously.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's a good idea. We will, because Matt, unfortunately, but fortunately, you leave from Virginia.
I'm out of here. I'm out of here in like 6 days. Yeah,
I know. I don't like it.
Making my way down south. It's not too far away, thankfully. It's not like I'm moving to a different part of the country, but but no, the move is fast approaching. That's why I want to get it one more time.
Yeah, absolutely. Get some redemption for you, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Yeah, but so that's all I got for news from Narnia, though. But how about you over there, Matt? I mean, obviously, we just mentioned kind of like the biggest news really is Henry moved to Virginia. So
what I'm trying to do, I've been trying to do these over the past couple of weeks, is just get together with as many friends and families I can. Prior to me, going to Virginia, this past weekend I actually went to LBI, Long Beach Island, with some friends, which Jeff, you're familiar with, a great beach town. So I was there for a couple of days, soaked in some sun, safely, of course. I know we're talking about how during these COVID times, you're trying to have some sense of normalcy and some type of an escape. And I think the beach can offer that, because while the beach can be overpopulated, I think the fact that there's a lot of air circulation, you can have some distance between people. It really gives you the chance to kind of soak in the cooler aspects of summer.
And if you go at the right time of day, you can.
Yeah. We went pretty early in the morning, so the beach wasn't terribly hectic, which was a plus. And with regards to food, I mean, we just did a bunch of takeout, wore our masks once we go to pick up our good stuff, and it was just a very enjoyable time. So
what kind of places, where'd you go to eat for takeout?
So we went to 2 places, technically 3. So for dinner, we went to a place called Surefire Grill, which is
I heard about that.
Yeah, it's in Surf City on the islands.
At the beach house, they recommended us going there. We never did this year, unfortunately, but that was one of the places that they recommended. How was it?
It was great. I mean, we all just got a bunch of burgers, which was really tasty, and you can't go wrong with that. And then we went to a more well-known place called Chegg, which is chicken or the egg, which we got some really delicious hot wings, which was pretty spicy, but really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we went to Wawa for lunch and breakfast.
There you go.
I love that Long Beach Island. It's an awesome beach town.
It really is. It's phenomenal.
Jeff, trivia. Do you know how long the island is? I want to see if Jeff knows this.
I should know this because I've been going here my whole life.
How many miles?
Gosh. Because it seems like it's a big island, but I don't think it's actually as big as people say it is.
What's your guess, Jeffrey? You're stalling.
God. I know I am, because I don't want to embarrass myself, because I've been going there.
You've been going there for years. I've been only there for a few years, and I know this.
Well, then again, I'm there for fun, not trivia.
Well, I'm going to ask Whitmer if you decide to not put out a guess.
Oh, God.
5, 4, 3.
I'm going to say 20. I don't know, 22.
Whitmer, have you ever been to LBI?
I have not.
Okay. Do you want to take a guess?
Square miles we're talking about?
We're just talking about it's the length of this island. It's actually, the width is very short. It's not very deep, but it's very, very long.
You know what? I'll stick with 20.
Jeff, you're very close. I'll give you that. You're very close.
25.
18 miles long.
Damn it.
Wow.
LBI. So
because again,
it's
like
probably like half a mile wide.
Yeah.
But it's like 18 miles long. It's really, really cool.
I know it's a decent sized island, but it's not as nearly as big as some other places you would go.
For sure. But that was my week, and it was a very grand old time.
Yeah.
You look like you didn't get too much red there.
I hope not. You know, I'm trying to work on my summer tan, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
How are you
Which
feeling
reminds
about moving
me, but I definitely need to see you before you move to Virginia, Matt. I need to get that beach umbrella back.
Yeah, Jeff, you were able to give me your umbrella. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that exchange sometime this week.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
We'll take care of that. No problem there.
Yeah. But how are you feeling about moving down to Virginia? Is it hitting you as it gets closer? Or?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, especially I know COVID has kind of been the theme of our show. COVID changes everything. You know, I'd be so excited to go to a new place and explore and interact with new people, but unfortunately, we're still going to have to be a little bit closed in.
Right.
I'm moving in with my my sister and I are getting a new apartment together, a 2-bedroom place in Alexandria, Virginia. So we're very excited for that. You know, moving is a lot of work and it takes a lot of packing and planning, but you know, as the days approach, we're kind of just looking forward to getting it done so that we can really get settled because, you know, I'm a school teacher for the listeners. I'll be teaching 8th grade social studies this upcoming school year. And
there you go.
The school year is right around the corner. It actually, one
really
month
is.
from today is my contract starts. So,
wow.
You know, once the move goes, I'd like to just kind of get everything settled, get everything planned,
Absolutely.
and then get my life started down there.
Yeah.
But hopefully I can still remotely join the pod from Virginia.
Well, yeah.
Of course,
well, the funny thing
is,
yeah, absolutely. Well, the funny thing is, Matt, anytime I'm down visiting Danny, I can just swing on by because she's only going to be a half hour from you.
Yeah, I think that for the most part we'll be able to make that work, which is really cool. I'm glad that you'll be able to make your way down.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually heading down there for our anniversary weekend coming up. I think I'm heading down there like the 18th or 19th, maybe 20th at the latest, and I'm going to be there
for
the
next couple of days.
So what, like in a few days from now?
Pretty much.
Oh, you're acting like this is like a month or two away.
No, I know. Eric.
I might go down 18th, 20th.
Today's the 14th.
Yeah, Jeff, you don't have much time on your hands.
I mentioned next month. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the school year is fastly approaching too. We're halfway through July, so
yeah, it's right around the corner.
No more school with Mary. It's so nice.
Yeah.
Just not even worrying about that for forever now.
Mm-hmm. It is a weird feeling once you're actually out of school. Like, nice, I don't have to really worry about school. Well, Matt does now, but
yeah.
That's my livelihood. Now, so I'll be worrying about school for the rest of my life.
Yeah, because now you actually have to make the curriculum and figure out where you want to go from there.
Yeah, and I'm excited for that. You know, school is middle school, as we can all attest, is a very interesting time in kids' lives. So I'm trying to make that as smooth for them, and
that's where we all met. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the LMS days, 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Good times. Good times.
And then because I'm going to transition back to the beach for a second, because Mike, I think you brought up a great question earlier in the podcast. Why don't you bring that up again for all of us?
Pretty much the theme of this podcast, like I think most of these podcasts that we've had is kind of a coronavirus and kind of changing our kind of way of life here. But you guys both kind of went on a vacation. Obviously, this year's a little different. People doing these vacations. But did you guys feel any? Because Jeff, obviously, a month ago you went to LBI. Matt, LBI a couple of days ago.
Yep.
Did you feel any different versus the other times you went? Obviously, there's going to be changes, but is there anything else outside of the usual things you would have expected with coronavirus that you like kind of experienced or noticed while you were there?
Matt, I'll let you go first. Yeah.
It's pretty fresh in my mind. I mean, exactly like we've been talking about. I mean, the biggest thing is just the fact you had to wear a mask at any time where you were, you know, either in a public spot or you were around the public being outdoors. So for the most part,
out on the beach or no?
The beach, no. We did not wear one on the beach just because we were keeping our distance from people and making sure that we were, you know, kind of in a socially distanced section of the beach that wasn't too crowded, which was a plus. The only times that we had to wear a mask were when we went to go get takeout, when we had to go pick up, you know, beach supplies at a certain location. And then we went to go play mini golf at a place called Flamingos Golf, which was very fun at LBI. And everybody there wearing masks. Now, with regards, when I say everybody, I'm just talking about the 5 people in my friend group. There was probably 30 people playing mini golf, and I'd say maybe 15 of them were wearing masks. So you still see a big group of people who just blatantly don't want to do it. And it's incredibly frustrating because it's people like that that are ultimately stunting our ability to get through it. But with regards to the beach as a whole, yeah, I mean, it felt kind of weird going on a vacation during these times because we have to be so different with how we go about our actions. But I think as long as you're being smart and respectful and, following the mandates that are created by, the local government in New Jersey, then I think ultimately you have to make the most of your time down there. And I had a lot of fun, even with some of those challenges that we had to face.
Mm-hmm.
That's good, man. That's really awesome to hear, and it definitely sounds like a great time. And again, that's awesome. The one question I was gonna bring up to you was how crowded was the beach?
It was
because you went on a weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty packed. And keep in mind, this was the weekend after July 4th. So we were hoping that maybe it wouldn't be as crowded because people went to get their beach weekend in the weekend prior.
Mm-hmm.
It was crowded. I mean, there was a lot of people. Like we've said all podcasts, we're no medical experts, so we don't know exactly where's the best and the worst place to be.
Yeah.
I'm under the belief that based off what I saw, that being on an actual beach is pretty safe with regards to COVID, because one, the fact that there is a consistent breeze in the air, whether that's from the land or the sea, kind of keeps the air circulation going. Mainly people are sitting far away from other people, and you can't transmit the disease when you are in a body of water as effectively as when you're around others. So yeah, the beach was crowded, but I never really felt too much like I was exposing myself to getting sick.
And then one last question for you was,
did you have
fun?
Oh, I had a great time.
Yeah. Damn it, Whitmer.
Yeah.
Did you have any instances where someone came up to you like kind of close and were like while you were on the actual beach, where obviously you guys weren't wearing masks?
Like, did somebody intentionally come up to us, or was it like accidental,
or just like yeah, I guess
contact.
I'll say this,
or like going for a talk kind of thing.
When you're at the beach, people try to forget their problems. I mean, I think when you go on vacation, you're trying to forget your life problems, the problems going around the world, all that jazz. So I think ultimately people have a different mindset there, where you're not being as cautious as you should, and it's dangerous, right? But for the most part, I tried to do what I could to keep myself and my friends out of harm's way and make sure that we were keeping our distance from those. And for the most part, we did. So, I think a lot of people are just, they want to move on. We've been going through this COVID time since mid-March, and it's been 3 months now. So people are tired, or 4 months, I guess. People are tired of it, and they want to move on. And ultimately, you just have to take responsibility for your own actions.
Right.
Also,
and
just real quick before you go off, Jeff.
Sorry.
Just Matt really hit on the nail on the head with the beach. Like, it's a pretty relaxing kind of place. So I understand why people want to go there.
Yeah,
it's relaxing. And even
not
in COVID times, I feel like people just don't really want to have that kind of, unless you're with your party, no one else is really going to have that interaction with strangers, because you're there to relax, maybe go into the ocean, do a little swimming there or whatever. But you're there to relax, maybe read a book, take in some sun, do that. You're not really.
And I don't blame people for wanting to do that, but you also still have to be aware that we can't let our guards down.
Right. And that's the biggest thing for me, because, and I purposely brought this up because I had not one but two cases where someone came up to me because mostly because I was fishing, and as other fishermen do, they go up to you and they start talking and want to say, oh, like, catch anything today, blah blah blah. And there was two cases where and both times I like tried to back away, and before let's say the first time, it was just like this older gentleman who I was surprised kind of got very close to me, because as someone who's older up in their ages, and this guy was like 60, 65, 70, in that range where they could be more at risk. And the guy, because I saw him like getting closer to me, and he kept his distance at first, but for some reason, like after we were talking for a couple minutes or so, he kept inching closer and closer to me, where I literally started walking kind of backwards like that. And after a while, I'm like, oh, like, really great talking to you. Like, I gotta go. Like just I want to keep my distance kind of thing. And like the guy just walked off. The other case was another guy came up to me, and it was kind of a rough day at the beach, perfect weather for fishing though, and kind of hard to hear. The guy was like almost like right next to me, and my dad, like, he ended up like saying something. He's like, Jeff, keep your distance. And the guy's like, oh wait, sorry. And he backed up, because again, you forget, because like you guys have said, you're at the beach, you want to relax. Matt, you said you want to forget all your problems, everything going on in life. The beach is kind of everyone's escape right now. And when that happened, like, clearly the guy, like, I'm sure like the guy didn't intentionally, like, oh, I'm gonna go up to this guy and talk to him, and well, and so on and so forth. But like, we're at the beach, even for a split second, like when I was talking to guys, I was like, I even forgot for a second. I'm like, oh yeah, they were just catching up. Like, you kind of let your guard down, either, mostly unintentionally. And for a second, you're like, this is normal. Like, we're on the beach, I'm fishing, talking to a guy about fishing, talking to whoever. And then you're, everything kicks up, like, oh, wait, sorry, you need to back up. Like, please keep your distance. Because again, we're not wearing masks or anything like that. So those were two cases that were very like nerve-wracking a little bit, because you're just trying to have a good time, and people come up to you sometimes, and especially people, who have fish and everything, and it was a little nerve-wracking. But I went, let's see here, June 6th through the 13th.
It's already been a month.
Yeah, it's crazy. We got down there on a Saturday. The first 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, were mobbed. And I mean, probably the most packed I've even ever seen LBI. And that's saying something. So when we got down the beach, there was a nice spot right in the middle where everyone was spaced out, kept their distance very politely, and everything. Looked all the way down the left, all the way down the right. Literally hundreds and hundreds of people, both sides, going down for like a mile. No one keeping their distance, everyone in close proximity of each other. It was crazy to see. And my parents and I were looking around like, are these people serious? Like, because again, like, you let your guard down, you forget you're at the beach, and oh, anywhere's fine, people going up next to you. But literally, I'm telling you though, if you try to walk through there, you couldn't even go within like 2-3 feet without bumping into someone else. Like, that's how close everyone was. It is, they're all in each other's space. But luckily, after that, by the time Monday came around, and Monday, Tuesday, there was almost no one there. So it was really nice, because it was less packed, and we're still in our same area, but we didn't have to nearly worry about bumping into like huge crowds of people like that. The only thing I will say is it was interesting. There was only one street. I mean, it makes sense now, but at the time, like, it was throwing us off, but we figured out eventually why. It was one street that I think it was like 68th, 69th Street or something like that, where you had to, when you're walking, they actually had a like security officer in front of the street, because and he was making sure people were wearing masks if you went on that specific street.
Wow.
The reason is it led to a ramp by like a pavilion, and that was where handicapped people or others that just wanted to sit on the pavilion and just relax from there, to sit and everything. There was a ramp that led up to there. So if you didn't have your mask, you couldn't go on that part of the beach. But once you got down, you could take your mask off. So my dad and I, we would go down that street, because that was where we found the best fishing to be. And so we would just go down like the next street over, or the street right before, not wear a mask, and just cut across and go through the beach. But other than that, it definitely felt like pretty normal for the most part. We went swimming, we played mini golf, we wore masks for that, which is fine. But again, we play mini golf every year there, so it was great to again have some normalcy back in our lives there. We got some takeout, we got some ice cream there, and did this and that, and we did a lot of the things we usually do on our agenda while down at the beach, and got to relax, play board games, and just enjoy the beach, and it was nice.
That sounds like a good time. I mean, you're just trying to make the most of the situation at hand.
Yeah, you really
yeah, absolutely.
So it's good.
It was a lot of fun. And,
Whitmer, do you plan on going down to the beach at any point this summer?
I know my sister, which might not be the best, but she's going down to Florida this weekend.
No kidding. Wow. Yeah. Where in Florida?
I forget where, but I think someone has like a beach house or something. They're going to stay out for a little bit.
Okay.
So essentially, they're just going to be at the beach. And one good thing is the bars and alcohol, that's not open. So
yeah,
it's not the real fear, I think it's more just kind of like what you guys did, just kind of relax on the beach kind of thing.
Okay.
I think there was also talk that when she were to come to visit and, my dad's COVID test comes back negative for anything, someone's phone's ringing.
Yeah, that's on our end. 1 second.
Had to go take it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're thinking of going to one of my neighbors' beach houses in Delaware potentially. But
do you know what beach?
I think Rehoboth.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I go down to
beach.
Bethany Beach different various times each summer.
Sorry about the boys.
You're good.
Spam call.
Yeah.
What do they want?
As always. I don't know. I hung up. They're like, we've been trying to reach. I'm like, no, you haven't. That's a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's cool, Whitmer. I'm sure it'll be a good time.
Yeah, if we actually do end up doing it, because my sister is talking about at the end of the month coming to visit us. So just see her again. It's been a little while.
Very nice.
There you go.
But that's kind of it. Actually, I think the last time we went to the beach was a couple years ago.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
I'm trying to think, but yeah, and Danny and I were actually going to the beach. Well, I'm going to the beach again. She's going to the beach for the first time this year. She was supposed to go with my family and I to LBI, but she hadn't seen her parents in like 4 months before that. So she, chose to go home and see her parents, which I told her, like, absolutely understand.
Yeah.
Understand. It makes sense. And so, I know she's excited for the beach, and her parents have a place to stay in Ocean City, Maryland. So that'll be fun. And we're looking forward to that. And we're going early August. So really just a couple of weeks we're going, which is nice. So it'll be fun to get back, and looking forward to it.
I think the one thing that does help for me is we do have the pool, so that does take away that kind of incentive to really go down there. Not that wouldn't still be relaxing and fun kind of thing. It's just like you can still have somewhat of a relaxing kind of time here kind of thing.
Don't have to worry about anyone getting in your way. You don't have to worry about loud people, annoying people. You can just hang out poolside, grab some drinks, food, just chill. Yeah.
It's not the same, but it's still that relaxing kind of forget the world kind of thing. Which is what I've been doing pretty much.
Yeah.
Since that pool opened. That's actually the funny thing is that this year alone, we've probably been in the pool more than any other time.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. But again, it's nice having that because, again, that also gives you some normalcy because it's like, it's like a regular day. You get to go swim, plus the biggest thing really is you see something else to do,
Yeah,
just a distraction. To change the subject a little bit, mention I had another game of basketball. We have still yet to perfect Matt's small ball.
Hey, man. Sometimes you can't replicate greatness.
We split. Mitch won the first game, I won the second game on a walk-off grand slam.
Wow.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Very cool.
You guys not play a rubber match?
What? No.
You guys? Why? You gotta play a rubber match.
Finished after 2.
Who'd you play against, Whitmer?
My little brother, Mitch.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It was very low scoring. I think both games ended the first game was 2-1, and that was 2-1 again until I hit the
walk-up grand slam.
Yeah.
All right, Bryce Harper.
Yeah. I want a rematch.
I want redemption at that, man.
Yeah. Time and place, baby.
Yeah. Hopefully tomorrow we get that back.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Then we can do all these things again.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully.
So one other quick thing first before we kind of get off here is as I talked earlier, I wanted to kind of do this new segment, which today's segment for unstressing, de-stressing, distressing kind of thing. I saw a little bit of fatigue kind of thing, not really, but I came across this series on Netflix that came out not too long ago, and it's pretty much just follows all these filmmakers in quarantine time just doing their own kind of thing. It's mostly kind of unknown people, but it's people around the world, kind of their own thing.
Pretty cool.
There's some well-known, I think Maggie Gyllenhaal has one.
Oh, cool.
Kristen Stewart also had one too.
Yeah.
Nice.
They're not long. It's pretty much like a YouTube kind of thing. I think there's it's between 4 and I think most I saw was 15 minutes long. It's the first 2 I saw weren't the best, and the second one's more so what I want to talk about because it's kind of funny, kind of weird. If you want to watch it on your own, go for it. But the first one was this guy from France had this drone, and he was pretty much just doing these shots of his like apartment complex of pretty much an empty kind of town kind of thing. One of those things was like, it's a weird kind of time, so he just kind of took it out kind of thing. The only problem with that one is I didn't really see much of a story there. The second one is the one I want to talk about more because it's so weird. But it's just, I think this guy from like Netherlands did this thing with like two like statue kind of gnome kind of things that were of Queen Elizabeth and Pope Francis.
Nice.
And they were quarantining together. I think the whole thing was that they're kind of, as well known as they are, they're kind of quarantined themselves because you don't really see them out much outside of them addressing, doing whatever.
Right.
But it was so weird because they start like this weird relationshipy kind of thing. And at one point they skinny dip. It's really weird. It's only like 7 minutes long, but it's...
what?
Yeah, it's a weird one.
It
like
sounds goofy, but I'm into it.
But like at one point, the queen can't make tea because she's so used to people making tea for her.
Wow.
And at some point, it was like asked, "What can you do?" And he randomly starts dancing with her. And so it's just this guy filming two little things as he dances around in his room.
Alrighty.
It's so weird and bizarre, but like the concept's interesting because just these guys around the world.
Yeah.
With this time in their hand, they're filmmakers, so they just make these little things. Even that first one, as much as I didn't really enjoy it as much,
it was interesting.
It was interesting because it's like if you see someone's like YouTube vlog and they're like doing a drone shot of wherever they're at. It was just an interesting sight because, as I said earlier, with these coronavirus times, you're never really going to see these. You're never going to see Paris, England, someplace like LA, San Francisco, just bare. It's just weird time, so I understand of when to capture that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that sounds like a really interesting project for sure.
Yeah, it is.
That's
I only got to the first two, but if you want to watch that, it's on Netflix. Again, they're not.
What's it called again?
Hold on. I should have
talking about it. What's it called?
1 second.
I love that show.
It's a great
show. The show's so great that we don't even know the name.
Yeah, all right.
Homemade, it's called.
Cool.
There you go.
Very neat.
Yeah. It's a neat kind of little series kind of thing.
Yeah.
And each one's its own thing. That's the one thing I think that makes it interesting. So if you want to take a look at that, it's on there. If you want to take a look at that, it's see kind of there's some kind of beauty in the weirdness that we're seeing.
Absolutely.
And I think what they're doing is kind of capturing some of that.
Sure.
And the one thing that I do like about it is it's people that you have never really even heard of and doing these things and seeing what they can come up with in like a short kind of thing while they were quarantining.
It gives time for people to be creative, that's for sure.
Exactly. And a new creative outlet kind of thing too.
Yeah.
But that's
sweet, boys. Sweet.
Yeah. That's all I've really got. You guys got anything else?
I think we're good. Jeffrey, you good?
I'm good, man. That's pretty much it for me. Just
another good pod.
Grab some lunch and grab some lunch and enjoy the beautiful day outside. It seems gorgeous out, so take advantage.
All right, fellas.
Yeah.
Well, it's good talking to you as always.
Yes, as always. And hopefully we get those results back soon. I'm sure.
Yeah, man.
Let us know, Whitmer. All right.
Yes.